Hey guys, what's going on? I'm not gonna waste any time and we're gonna go right into how to solve your dog's separation anxiety. But it's a long and involved process because how your dog got here, it took a lot and it's going to take a lot to get them out of there. Now, the very first thing I'm gonna have you do with your dog is throw away your dog's food bowl. It is the most worthless thing you could possibly have for any dog because this is pretty much the reason why your dog got to this in the first place. They don't have anything to do and instead they just worry that you're gone all the time. So in order to start fixing your dog's separation anxiety, you need to give them something to do and a job that they enjoy doing. And my favorite job to give dogs to do is a Kong. And a Kong you stuff with all of their normal food, and if you want to, you can spice it up and use other pieces of food such as carrots, or maybe just the smallest bit of cream cheese, something to really spice it up and get them interested in it. Now, a lot of dogs with separation anxiety do not know how to play with toys because if they did, they'd be able to preoccupy themselves while you're gone without freaking out and tearing up the couch and making that their toy instead. Did you know that when given a choice between a food bowl and a food toy, as long as the animal knows how to use the food toy, the animal will always choose the food toy? This is a concept called contra freeloading. And it's when an animal is given the opportunity to work for their food versus being freely given their food if they have the choice. The next step to solve your dog's separation anxiety is to give them daily vigorous exercise. Have a kid around the block run them if you can't. I want your dog panting, tired, and exhausted at least once a day for a half an hour. You'll find that after about a week of your dog getting that really hard exercise, they are going to really calm down. The other thing that your dog is struggling with when he has separation anxiety is they don't feel very secure. And one of the reasons that they probably don't feel very secure is that some people are very rough and heavy-handed with their dogs. So if you are part of a multi-person household and someone's a little bit more heavy-handed with your dog, keep your dog out of it. Remove your dog from those situations because that's not going to help solve your dog's insecurity issues. The next thing that's going to help your dog get over separation anxiety is to avoid overexcited greetings. When dogs get overexcited, there's a rush of feelings and dopamine and chemicals going into their brain when you're greeting them so excitedly. And when that happens, it doesn't exactly help them regulate their emotions very well, and they can go over the top very quickly. So our goals with regulating our greetings to making it more calm, I'm not saying don't greet your dog, please greet your dog. They are your kids, they are your family, they are part of your in-group, right? But when you are greeting your dog, make sure it's calm, it's chill, and it's very, very short, and it doesn't go on for a prolonged period of time. Because if you can keep it nice and short and very calm, that's going to help them regulate their emotions and become less over the top, less often. And we all know dogs with separation anxiety tend to go over the top quite a bit. Now, assuming that you have followed all the previous steps, this one is going to really help you because most dogs with separation anxiety freak out when they physically watch you leave. So our goal is to make sure they're busy with something else while we leave, or just don't get to see us leave at all. So I found that the most successful part of this is the Kongs. And when I'm dealing with a dog with separation anxiety, I make sure they are focused on their food, on their Kongs, as I'm leaving out the front door. Some dogs will leave their Kong when they see you leave. But if you cover the crate up and make sure before you cover the crate up, they're focused on their Kong, then they're going to prevent to see you leaving and they're going to be okay. And this might require you to change your routine and feed your dog as you walk out the door. If they're fairly hungry in the morning, this is going to help you immensely. If they're not that hungry in the morning, then you might want to contact an animal professional to help troubleshoot what is going on in your routine that they can help tweak. Now, as we've already mentioned previously, your dog is kind of suffering from way too much emotion, way too quickly for way too long. And what can really help with that? These are more long-term goals I'm going to be telling you, but what can really help is if you actually teach them emotional control games or training, which would be like a stay, a prolonged settle, and a leave it. And don't just teach these, use them in your everyday life for every little thing that they have to go through, so they have to pause, think about it, and regulate themselves emotionally. Yes, this is going to take a little bit more time on your part, but once you have those behaviors there and you are practicing quite continuously and for a long term, you are going to get those long-term results, not just those quick fixes, and you are going to have many, many years of happiness with your pet. Now, the other thing that you haven't heard me mention yet, which most dog trainers will mention first thing off the bat, is finding your dog's triggers and what sets them into panic mode, saying, oh my gosh, mom's about to leave, and getting more stress and more stress and more stress. Usually there's a routine everybody has in the morning when they're going off to work. Getting up, brushing their hair, going to the bathroom, and that might be the very first sign that your dog is about to go to panic mode and is getting worried. So what I want you to do with your normal everyday routines, such as, after that you start to get dressed, you start to pick up your keys, put on your shoes, open the door, and go to work, right? So what I want you to do is make a list out of all the things that you do. Just wake up, pretend you're waking up, go through your routine, and write with a pen and paper what you're doing. And those are going to be all the cues setting your dog off. Now that you have the specific triggers that are unique to you and your dog, you are going to perform those behaviors randomly throughout the day when you're home. And for most people, that's going to be during the evenings and on weekends. And you're going to have to make use of that time. Now, something that's really awesome is something called counter conditioning. And that is teaching the dog the exact opposite of what they think is going to be happening and making sure that they get excited about it. So for example, after you pick up your keys and you jingle them and you walk to the door and the dog's like, I'm not sure what you're doing there, you stop, you turn around, you put your keys back, and then you give them a beautiful piece of cheese or a hot dog or veggie burger, whatever you want. And what that does is teaches your dog, oh, every time she does this action, I get something awesome. And I get something awesome without you ever actually leaving and going out the door. But counter conditioning your dog to change their emotional response takes a lot of consistency, and most people, if they're doing this on their own and they are not like totally glued on focused onto their goals, they're going to fail, and it's only going to make things worse. So it really kind of depends how hyper focused you are on your goal and how quickly you want to reach it, because you're going to have to do these counter conditioning protocols at least 20 times a day if you really want to start seeing results. There are two other things that I want to talk about, and the second to last one is potty training. A lot of people who have dogs with separation anxiety will also have soiling issues in the house. And again, this kind of boils down to lack of emotional control. The dog might be panicking, and they're just not really able to regulate how they're feeling at the moment and use their brain. So what I would encourage you to do is to get a puppy playpen, to get a gate to block off specific areas of the house that it wouldn't be terrible that your dog peed somewhere in, maybe somewhere like maybe tile, somewhere that's not as dreadful as carpet. And if you can safely crate train your dog, do it. But a lot of the time, some separation anxiety cases are so bad, dogs cannot be crated and they're going to have self-harming behaviors. So if that's the case and you have no other option to crate even though your dog's hurting themselves, contact a fear and force-free behavior professional and get some help. The other side, this kind of leads into the next one, which is medication. And medication is not usually a last resort for dogs that have really bad separation anxiety, dogs that are self-harming themselves, dogs that are barking nonstop and making themselves go hoarse. Your dog needs some initial help in addition to these training protocols. That being said, your dog could be on medication for as little as a month to 2 months if you are really dedicated and zoned in on your goals with your dog and you're following everything to the T. And probably you really should be working with a professional animal trainer that's force and fear free as well in order to help your dog get over these issues. So that is it. Thank you guys so much. I will be seeing you guys on the next one. Make sure to get all the details about why separation anxiety evolves into your dog in the first place in the links down below. I will have a article linked into the description, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.